This is Raven Dana, and thanks for joining me at Walking Between the Worlds. This is Practical Magic, Class 1, Part 2. So, if you watched Part 1 yesterday, you'll see that the recording just stopped. Fortunately, it stopped at the end of his sentence, but I was not finished talking. I don't know why that happened, so here's the other information that I intended to include in Class 1 that somehow vanished into the ethers. All right, so the last thing I did was recommend 2 books to you. So again, this class, Part 1, I'm laying out the foundations for working with practical magic for your beginning setup, so how you can develop your skill in being in the flow of energy on an everyday basis, to use the flow of energy guided by your intention, your emotions, your ability to increase energy, to create a specific desired result through those channels of your intention and emotional energy, and little practical tips about how to do that and add those things to your daily life in a way that's simple and easy. And of course, anything like this requires some practice. So just to quickly recap what I did say in Part 1 of Class 1 is that magic is something that happens always, all the time. It's not just what we do, it's what we are. It's energy that flows through us, creating results depending on our habits and patterns, our ability to be clear and focused in our intentions, and to remove obstacles that may be in our way. In other words, if we set an intention or do a spell for an outcome, but we deeply don't believe we deserve that outcome, likely it's not going to happen, okay? Or we might get very close and then something might push it out of the way. So magic is something that we get good at over time, and when we learn to suspend our own fears, our own self-doubt, then more and more we're able to cultivate positive results in a regular way. Okay, so I was talking about tools and showed you 2 books yesterday when we went off the rails. So meaningful symbols, things that in your tool collection have value specifically to you. Just think about what you have been attracted to. Is it spirit animals? Do you have a picture of a bear or a little statue of a horse? Do you enjoy reading about gods and goddesses? Do you have an alliance with a particular energy or a time in history, or the Greek gods or the goddess Athena? Or so anything that you already have an affinity for, that's an energy that you can tap into and also request help from, okay? So things that quiet your mind are important to your practice. So whatever that is that works for you, if it means sitting in the woods, if it means watching the sunrise or the sunset, if meditating works for you, or sometimes just lighting a candle or the scent of a certain incense, whatever puts you in that reflective state of mind where your already existing noisy thoughts quiet down, that's the space you want to be in when you do your practice. And again, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to set something up and get still, and because you want to be able to practice magic all the time. You want to put yourself in that state of mind pretty much on command. So if you're driving somewhere and you're also working on some practical magic, yes, that's fine. You can do that. You can create channels for yourself to make that. So it's most important to get your noisy brain out of the way so that you can bring your attention to your awareness, to your conscious and deliberate way of aligning your intention with the flow of energy and making specific, clear, direct requests that can bring you towards what you desire or bring that result towards you. Okay, so another book I'm going to recommend is The Holographic Universe by Michael Talbot. It's an older book, but it really is a very good, how can I say this? He talks about impossible things and that they happen all the time. And he talks about how we exist in a holographic universe, essentially a multi-dimensional existence. And I think, again, for the ability to develop the skill of practical magic, it is our mindset, our ability to relate to and to experience the aliveness and the consciousness of the world around us. That the more we see the world around us and everything in it, the wind, the weather, the animals, the bugs, the birds, the trees, as allies, as kin, as part of our communication network, the easier it is to recognize the flow of energy and how to lean on, ride with, or increase flows of energy in whatever given circumstance you may be in. And again, we do this naturally, right? If somebody's in a good mood and they're telling us a joke and we're feeling not so great, and we experience a shift, a change, and we start to feel better, and we're going to lend ourselves to that. Usually we'll tell a joke, we'll laugh, we'll compliment the person. The conversation will not just be one way. After a point when their energy shifts us, then we will add energy to that positive change. That's a type of practical magic. So you can practice in very simple ways by adding energy consciously and deliberately to good things, to good situations. And here's the thing that we don't do enough of. And by withdrawing our energy or shielding ourselves from energies that are chaotic or discordant or uncomfortable or unpleasant. And that includes if you're in a room with people who are in some sort of conflict, or if you walk into a space where people have maybe just had a fight and you can feel it, or if you're around a person who's being particularly negative. Now, being blunt, I recommend that you ask them to knock it off. I mean, literally say, I can't listen to that right now. And yet, if you're in the presence of a conversation between them and somebody else, maybe the best you can do is imagine a shield and shield yourself and see that energy bouncing off the shield or blowing past it, dissipating, being drawn, sucked down into the ground and dissipating. And again, if you're out somewhere and you find yourself near a group of people or in a building or in a space that feels off, then you can use this practical magic tip to protect yourself from whatever energetic situation you might be in. And if it's particularly intense, of course, you can call on guides, guardians, helpers, ancestors, whatever that is that you relate to, that you feel confident is there for you. And if you don't feel that confident, well, again, practice. Because if you want Aunt Tilly to tell her the secret of her cookie recipe, even if what that secret is her good mood, then you're going to have to develop a relationship with her. So guides, guardians, all of those things. If you want to have their assistance, spend a little time acknowledging them and spend a little time saying thank you when things go your way, right? When you have a synchronicity occur in your life, that's a memo about practical magic. Say thank you. When you have something turn up that you've been seeking or looking for, and out of the blue, all of a sudden, there it is in front of you, say thank you. That increases and opens the flow of energy. That's giving a message back to the conscious universe at large saying, yes, more of this, please. So the opposite of that is sometimes when we're in a difficult energetic situation and we kind of fall into it, or we develop a sense of fear about what's happening and we don't extract ourselves. If you can't physically extract yourself, which is what I suggest, but if for whatever reason, maybe something's going on at work and the atmosphere at work is just off, then again, ground yourself. So get out of your head, get into your body, take a few breaths, Send your energetic tendrils down, down, down into the ground or up into the sky or both, whatever works for you, but get grounded out of your head into your body. And then whatever works. If shielding works, do it. If taking a breath and blowing it out and seeing yourself encased in a sphere of impenetrable energy, fine, do that. Play with these things. Practice and see what works for you. If what works for you is imaging a vast figure standing behind you, wrapping you in his or her cloak or wings, okay, if that works, if you can make contact and you feel that happening and you feel that energy parting around you, do that. So practice these things on a daily basis, okay? Allow yourself to notice the deeper communications that exist between you and everything around you, from the insects to the weather to the flow of energy in the room, because that's how your skill develops, through sensitivity, through becoming aware of the deeper layers of consciousness that are always doing things. You know, our brains, our deep mind can access a vast number of bits of information per second. I think it's something like 400,000 bits of information per second. But our conscious mind, what we can hold, is only about 2,000. In other words, we can only be consciously aware about 7 things at once, right? And in the vast realm of consciousness, being deliberately aware of 7 things in the big picture of life is not very much. And those include things like, is something dangerous for me in this environment? Or, hey, what's the weather feel like? Okay? So what I want you to do is start to rely on the 2/3 of your consciousness that's below the surface of your daily consensual life that you live with in the ordinary world with others. There's a lot more to us than that. And you can have that deeper, richer experience through practicing practical magic. And it's a wonderful thing. And again, you don't have to have a certain set of beliefs. You don't have to be a witch. You don't have to do anything other than expand your perception of who and what you are, because nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about what we really are as multidimensional creatures in a multidimensional universe, constantly exchanging information and energy with everything and all that is around us, with all our relations, with all that is. That's how magic works. It is a consistent give and take relationship in the flow of energy between us and all around us. So again, I'm just planting that background seed. And you can start small, right? You can, if you're going to create a magical work for something, you can, say, light a candle, or maybe get a new candle and carve into the side of the candle a few symbols that represent your clear intention. I'm reminding you that the clarity of your intention is important for the outcome. And then light it. You can light it and let it burn down and burn out. You can light it every day at a certain time and sit there and allow yourself to build energy, to imagine vividly the outcome, because that, of course, helps. Your ability to vividly imagine the outcome as if it's already completed is a memo. It is creating in the liminal zone the outcome that you desire. So, you know, as Robert Moss says, the stronger the imagination, the less imaginal the result, right? The stronger the imagination, the less imaginary the result, Robert Moss. If you haven't read Robert's work, please do. Sidewalk Oracles is a good place to start. The 3 Only Things is another good place to start. And frankly, any of his books that talk about dream work and the liminal space between worlds, they're excellent books to help you shift your perspective from the surface world to the deeper world in which we live. Okay, so whatever speaks to you. So we talked a little bit about noticing, dismissing, directing energy. I'm not going to spend too much time on that, any more time on that today. But I do want to say that I have a series of practices that I want to let you know about. To practice grounding several times a day, however that works for you. To look for some tools, find your tools. To add energy to good situations intentionally, like I said, and to dissipate chaotic energy deliberately, both around you and in you. When you're in a state, when you get worked up, when your mind is nattering on and you're feeling judgy of others or yourself, or you're shooting on yourself, that's an opportunity to practice practical magic. That's an opportunity to interrupt that flow of energy, to let it dissipate, to send it down into the ground and let the earth metabolize it, or to go stand in the wind and imagine the wind blowing right through you, carrying away those thoughts, shifting the frequency of that energy so that you come away from that experience feeling grounded and uplifted, changing the channel on the television. Essentially, you're changing the channel from putting out energy that says, bring me this negative, unpleasant experience, to saying, no, I'm sloughing this off like my old skin, like a snake shedding its skin, and I'm coming out of it new and clean and with a different state of mind. Practical magic is very practical, okay? Practice that basic attraction magic, you know, looking for the parking place, looking for something you haven't been able to locate in a long time. And what I really want you to do also is to record synchronicities and dreams. If you are interested in practices that are for more than one person, you can practice with someone in your life that you sit down and invite to take this class with you. You can practice with another member of the class. Now, of course, all of these recordings are free, and I do send out, for people who choose to pay a little money, I do send out an email with class notes and links and my practice suggestions and books and things like that. And that also gives you direct email access to me. So if you're in on it on that level, or you'd like to be, you can still sign up. It's not a problem. Just go to my website, ravendana.com, and look at the workshops. You'll find this one, click on it, and it'll tell you what to do. And it is a sliding scale. There's a suggested fee, and if you can't afford it, that's perfectly fine. Pay what you can, and I put you on the list. I'm telling you this because if you are wanting to play with other class members and you tell me that, I can put you in touch with each other. So we can do that through email. All right, that's enough of me nattering on for today. So this was class 1, part 2, and I will come back later today and put up a few meditations that will help go along with this material. I'm sorry it got divided in half. I have absolutely no idea how the recording stopped, but I'm very grateful that it stopped at the end of a thought and at the end of a sentence. So until next time, have a wonderful day, and thanks for tuning in to Walking Between the Worlds. Bye now.